My name is Ed Cole. We would like to explain why the board should re-examine its decision to commit to participate in the Welcoming Cities and Counties project. Welcoming unvetted refugees into our community will create a dangerous environment for every resident. Note Paris, France. Who is going to vet these people? What is the cost to our community? And who will pay for this program? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello.
I'm Sue Halki, H-E-L-K-E. I would like to read a paragraph from this press release by Representative Candace Miller. Representative Candace Miller and colleagues on the Homeland Security Committee voiced concerns over the administration's plan to increase numbers of U.S.-bound refugees back in January, questioned the ability to stop migrants with terrorist ties from exploiting the refugee program. In February, she says, we received a response from the administration assuring us they were utilizing rigorous screening procedures. They basically told us not to worry about it because they use biometric and biographical data. However, the reality is there is no database on refugees, on most refugees, making it impossible to adequately screen these refugees. I live in Walled Lake. I am here because I'm your neighbor, and I'm very concerned that if a terrorist should slip through the cracks, he will be affecting Walled Lake as well as West Bloomfield. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What is the date on that article?
November 16th.
Thank you. This year?
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Day before yesterday. Yep.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay, is there anyone else? Yeah.
Hi, my name is Ann Sheridan, and I'm a resident of West Bloomfield. And I want to add a little bit to what Sue Halki has said about the ability to screen these people. And I'm going to read to you a statement that was recently made by the Assistant Director of the FBI. He informed the House Homeland Security Committee in February 2015 under oath that the refugees pose a greater risk to Americans, and they raised the possibility that refugees could have connections to foreign terror groups. And another congressional hearing held October 22nd, 2015, FBI Director James S. Comey Jr. issued another warning about the FBI's inability to fully screen refugees entering the U.S. from the Middle East. It's mine, I'm sorry.
Okay. Oh,
I'm not there to,
nobody, okay.
so,
It'll stop.
okay,
There
so we have the FBI director, and we have the former FBI director, both saying that the FBI does not have the ability to properly screen these people. So regardless of what we may be hearing from people in the administration, this is definitely something to take in consideration. So we certainly hope that you'll take the safety of the residents in West Bloomfield and surrounding areas into consideration and revisit this issue.
Yes.
Thank
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Irvin Ginsberg, and I want to ask you a question. And first of these is, wouldn't it make sense to explore fully what it means to West Bloomfield citizens in committing our township to a new project that will entail local costs? Shouldn't the citizens be involved in this process? Shouldn't they be informed about the costs, et cetera? One would think so, but not according to Welcoming America, the program for welcoming communities that has received your approval. What is the impact on local residents? In the Huffington Post, there was an article that said federal benefits to refugees dry up fast, and states and local communities help pick up the tab too, because the refugees who arrive with little more than the clothes on their backs are immediately eligible for mainstream benefit programs like food stamps, Medicaid, and cash assistance for low-income families.
Right.
You have to provide this after the federal benefits run out, which is usually about 6 months. According to the Office of Refugee Resettlement, more than 90% of recent Middle Eastern refugees are on food stamps, and almost 70% receive cash welfare. According to expert testimony recently presented to Congress, the lifetime cost of benefits per 10,000 refugees is $6.5 billion, and that's only for 10,000 refugees. Most of that will be local responsibility. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Ginsberg, that was your name, right? Because I'm trying to record all.
IRVIN?
Irving
Yes.
Ginsberg, thank you. All right. Okay.
My name is Stephen Subchuk. I am a member, or I belong in West Bloomfield.
Okay.
I have some handouts on the financial costs that have been tabulated to
Thank
pass
you.
out to you. When you review it, remember not to leave out the unidentified costs incurred by the Board of Education and law enforcement, and not to leave out the cost of our underprivileged citizens when resources are diverted from them to the new refugees. If
Thank
you
you.
would.
Thank you.
And I also have concerns about the security issues. You know, ISIS has said that they're using the refugees as an outlet to get them into the other countries and to be used for violence, and we're seeing that already.
Stephen, could you
Yes.
spell your last name for me?
Sure. S-O, B as in boy, C as in cat, Z as in zebra, A-K.
Thank you so much.
Stephen with the P-H. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Doreen Weisberg, E-N-E for Doreen Weisberg.
Got
And I
it.
belong with him in West Bloomfield.
How you doing, Doreen?
All right.
Thank God. What may happen when we act according to our welcoming and loving impulses without
Yeah.
thinking about the consequences? One must consider fully the consequences of your decisions, but let's not forget these national security questions. This is the most important, apparently now, all over the world, because doesn't 9/11 prove what happens when immigration and refugee policies have gone amok? Don't the Tsarnaev brothers show that this is a product of a refugee or asylum program that went astray? With our good hearts and good intentions, aren't we in danger of importing national and ethnic conflicts of other peoples? Islamic extremism, Arab anti-Semitism, as well as a different understanding of society and law. Isn't it time we just put a halt on any further refugee resettlement, not just the Syrians, until all questions are posed and answered? We would like you to please revisit your decision that was made on April 20th. In an agenda packet that was 601 pages long, this was on pages 307 through 312. I doubt that you even had a chance to look at it, besides even go into the background. So please revisit this commitment to be a welcoming community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Phillip OMalley. I'm from Bloomfield Township, and I took off work to get here. I think it's very important to bring a few points to your attention. Some of them have already been mentioned. The director of the FBI has stated that owing to a complete lack of reliable infrastructure and records in the failed state that was once Syria, there is no possible way this agency could reliably vet the applicants. Homeland Security Chairman of the House of Representatives, Mike McCall, and also the Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, share the assessment, as does the Assistant FBI Director. And widely published reports show ISIS is boasting of infiltrating our refugee program, and the fact that a trained infiltrator can easily lie to any clearance board should make any thinking citizen recoil from such an unwise policy. Overall, the U.S. accepts more refugees than the rest of the world combined. The state of Michigan accepts more per capita than any other state, so I think we've done our part. And while I have great sympathy for those suffering at the hands of ISIS, I support more sensible solutions to their problems, such as the creation of a safe zone inside Syria or the neighboring Gulf states, many of whom have not accepted a single refugee. As Chris Matthews said the other night to one of the people who favors this program, he asked him, will you take full responsibility if one of these refugees comes in and something bad happens, like a terrorist, for example? I'm not sure, the answer was not really direct. So I want everybody to think about that. I submit that the program is ill-advised, poses a danger to our families and our community, and out of an abundance of caution should be terminated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Lauren Buress. I'm also in West Bloomfield Township.
Okay. Could you spell your last name for me?
Burris.
Thank you.
So I further request something specific, that the township adopt a measure, as our states and communities across the country, to place on hold all participation in refugee resettlement programs pending a full review to assure citizens that U.S. security will not be compromised, and until all financial, public safety, social, and educational impacts are disclosed. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else? I think that we need to maybe amend the agenda if we want to make a motion. The township really doesn't have the resources to do anything with the resolution that was passed on April 20. We simply don't have the time, the resources, and obvious with everything that's going on in the world. And I forgot to amend the agenda for the item that we had yesterday as well, the planning director. The scale we had that we talked about for the new hire for planning director falls within, right between 80 and 8F. So in order to extend an offer, I did want to amend the agenda to seek board approval for an 8F. Okay.
Before we do
support.
that, can I, I think I'd like to finish
Sure.
public comment.
Yeah. Okay.
Before we go
Sure.
on. Okay. I want to ask a couple questions, because we received a proposal last April from the supervisor to join Welcoming Cities. I went to a diversity committee meeting where we were given a short presentation. We didn't get more information in our packets, and this board, it sounds really nice, doesn't it? Welcoming Cities. It sounds wonderful. Now, I am going to admit that I voted in favor of that, and it was presented to us as something that we really should do. And it still might be, it still could be, but clearly we haven't done enough research on it. We haven't looked at it closely enough. Subsequently, as the months went on, I began to read and hear more and more about the initiative, and there were some things about the initiative that I certainly didn't know were a part of it. Okay, so I don't think that the board signed on for refugee resettlement. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. We signed on to be a welcoming city because we think that's a good thing to be, a welcoming city. But I think what we need to understand is that maybe the focus of this is on something that we, as local government, we aren't involved in. We're not spending tax dollars on this. We should not be. We can't spend tax dollars on this. It's illegal for us to do that, and we would not do that. I would never be in favor of that. And so I think that the supervisor's now proposing we amend the agenda to revisit our decision, is that what you're suggesting, of belonging to welcoming cities. I think that I would like to, I think we need to do our due diligence. I don't want to just, react now and say, oh, let's just rescind that motion. I really think it should be an agenda item, again, in the future, something that we need more information, and we need to be able to make our decision. With all due respect to all of you, we should be making our decisions with all the information in front of us. And admittedly, there wasn't, the only information in front of us on welcoming cities, what I had to read, was that it was a good and positive thing. So if there's something about it that we philosophically don't believe in, or we as a township don't have the authority to be engaged in. And this came up recently, then we need to find out what that is, and I think our township attorney is here right now. I don't know if you have any comment you want to make about this, but I think we should finish the public comment session on this and then decide if we want to amend the agenda.
Yeah. And I'd like to comment that when we did move forward with the Welcoming Township resolution, it was really intended to hold acculturation type of events. We have such a diverse community. 23% of our residents are foreign-born. I'm first generation. We already see clusters of our foreign-born residents who will meet at Panera Bread to play cards. They'll meet at the Parks and Recreation to play Maj. And so there's already some integration occurring within our residents, and that is really the extent of my familiarity with welcoming townships, to do some more integration events, acculturation, and naturalization for people legally more coming into the community. So that's the extent of my understanding with welcoming townships, but I do agree that we should do a little bit more research and then take it from there. Okay, is there anyone else that would like to comment at this time? Okay.